One-foot-flipper.
You know what are really the two most important things being a successful reseller? It's not how beautiful your hair is. It's not how many legs you have. Although that can help or hurt you. It's not where you live. But the two most important things are your motivation and your willingness to learn things. And I can't stress how important these two things are. If you're not willing to learn anything, you're never going to be a good reseller. And if you want to see examples of that, just go on eBay. Go search for anything you want to buy, and then scroll down the page and look at the store of that person who's asking twice as much for the same item. And that's going to show you the store of somebody who's not willing to learn anything. They've probably been on eBay for 20 years. They probably have 1,000+ items in their store, and they probably sell 15 items a month. And if you're going to go with the attitude of never learning anything, that's going to be your eBay experience. Instead, you want to learn things. You want to surround yourself with people who will help you learn things if you need help. Like, I am blessed because I've got a wonderful group of people around me that I can talk to and bang ideas off of. I've got the Railroad Reseller, I've got Max, the fast talking flipper, J-Ride, Soda City Flips. If I'm forgetting you right now, I am so sorry. There's a bunch of people I talk to in a bulk chat, and I'm not even exactly sure what all their usernames are, so I know I'm forgetting some of you, like Rad Relics, and I know there's others that I'm just forgetting. Dragon Master Finds. You guys have taught me so much, and I hope I'm teaching you, because learning those things, learning the difference between what's a good item and a bad item, learning a simple trick like, if you've got a Goodwill outlet, you can cut those posters and paintings out of the frames and buy them for pennies instead of buying that big expensive frame that's going to cost $30 to ship. On my last trip that there were posters, I brought home probably $500 worth of admittedly slow moving posters and canvases that I mostly cut out of frames. And that stuff would have otherwise went in the dumpster later that day. And instead, eventually, when the right customer comes around, it's going to make me a lot of money. I think the two big ones here I found, put up on the screen, found this 1983 Miss Universe poster. This is from the actual inside the pageant. This is from the Kiel Center. This would have been on the wall out in the hallway at the Kiel Center where the Miss Universe pageant was in 1983. Miss Universe posters basically don't exist other than pinup posters. The posters for the actual event, they don't exist. There's no comps on them. Nobody's got them. I've got the only one on the marketplace. There's no other copies of this poster photo available anywhere. The artist doesn't even have of the picture on there, doesn't even have this piece of art on his website listed, in his gallery of various art he's done, probably because it was 40 years ago and he's, maybe have not even taken a picture of it or whatever, maybe doesn't have the original anymore. Probably doesn't. They probably bought the original. And I found this other one, probably going to get me $90 here for an art event, and just several similar ones. And I actually came up with that on my own, but I'm giving that to you now. You can learn that now. And I learn things from other people. Like J-Ride makes half of his money, his reselling money, buying lots on eBay and then selling the valuable items out of those lots individually. And here's the thing. You only need to learn one type of item in order to do lots. Sure, you could learn 10. You could be a total boss, learn 10, 20, 30 different types of items, or you could become an expert at just one type of item. You can become an expert at camera lots, Pokemon card lots, hat lots, whatever it is. Why don't you just find one item, probably something you're the most expert at anyway, that shows up in lots, and get those saved searches going on eBay. And when those lots come up, you could jump on them, look at them immediately, see, am I going to make money on this lot? If so, you buy the lot. I don't think I've ever bought a lot that I've ended up being sad about. even the ones where I thought I paid too much. I bought a lot of posters from ADHD for $160. I think late last year. Not sure exactly when. I think it was my first ever Whatnot purchase. And I think I've already cash flowed $400 or $500 out of that lot. And I've still got a decent amount of them left. A couple of high dollar ones, and then a lot of more posters for more generic or boring movies that people that aren't moving as fastly, that have now dropped to the $6 and $7 plus shipping range. But hey, that's okay. Sometimes people buy multiples of them, and I encourage them to, because honestly, I can ship 10 posters for the same price as I can ship one poster. They're all just going to go into that same mailing box. I say, don't use tubes. Tubes are no good for reselling anymore, because the post office has a surcharge on long packages now, while UPS, and I believe FedEx too, has a surcharge on tubes. Now, the surcharge isn't always applied. Sometimes they miss it, sometimes they don't, but the surcharge is very high. What you want to use for posters and things like that now are the 4x4, the long 4x4 boxes. I buy the 48-inch ones because that cover golf clubs and bats too. And then the nice thing about those boxes, you cut them down to length, and then you get these little box lit sections that you can then use as a second box for something else. But as much as important as your motivation, as important as your willingness to learn, it's just how motivated you are. I know when I got out of the hospital after my 3 months hospital stay, where I briefly died and was in very poor health, minus one leg when I came out, I thought for sure that I was going to get sick again. I was going to die, going to leave my family with nothing, and my wife with a house payment on it that she wouldn't be able to make, even though it was a very moderate house. And I had all the motivation in the world, and I paid that house off from a wheelchair in something like a year and a half. But now I don't have that motivation anymore, and I'm finding it hard to perform at that same level, because the motivation just isn't there. The amounts of money that need to be come up with for any real next level life changes are massive, because I don't borrow money anymore. Everything I pay for, or I don't pay for it now, or I don't buy it. I might float something for a very temporary amount of time for one reason or another. When I got a new HVAC system, I floated that for 2 months on financing, just because I didn't want to break. I had a lot of money wrapped up in CDs, and I didn't want to break the CDs and get the penalties. It was just cheaper to pay the interest for, I think I only got hit with 1 month's interest charge. It was cheaper to just pay the 1 month's interest than to break 3 separate CDs and get the penalties on them. Because, either way. And I float a lot of expenses on credit cards that I pay off on a weekly basis. Shipping charges, things like that. Both because the rewards add up, and then I'm not looking at the bank account constantly. I'd rather see those things show up on the credit card. Not that it really matters for my record keeping, because I don't keep my records based off of my credit card statements. I keep them based off the statements from the vendors themselves. Like, I've got off of eBay and off of Pirate Ship and all that. And oh boy, I've gone off on a tangent. Myself, with my motivation not where it used to be, I'm not performing as well as I used to be. And well, when you find people who have a wonderful work ethic and are extremely motivated all the time, those are the people who rise to the top. People like J-Ride, ADH Dave, even with all the mistakes he makes, they are at the top of the reselling game for a reason, because they somehow are always motivated. It doesn't seem to matter whether or not they need the money or not. They just are motivated to just keep doing it. And I really admire that, and I'm really glad that I get to interact with those guys. I just wish a little bit of it might rub off on me, because right now I cannot come up with their level of motivation to save my life. Now, perhaps if I actually had to save my life, I could come up with their level of motivation. I know what I'm going to say. Well, how about I motivate you to eat less sandwiches, fatty? And I guess that could be a save your life motivation. Although, and think about, it is hard to exercise with a prosthetic leg to get any decent sort of cardio going. It just is, and that has definitely hurt me being able to do anything but trying to stay steady on my weight. That and your weight changes by about 10 or 15 pounds, and you need a new leg socket that costs thousands of dollars. Imagine how many of those I'd go through if I actually got down to normal weight. I'd probably burn $100,000 on leg sockets that I don't have. I don't have $100,000. At least I don't have $100,000 in cash. My net worth, because of my house at least, is more than that. You have $100,000? I bet most of you don't, not in cash. You might have it in retirement accounts. I bet Jay Wright has $100,000. I think Kevin has $100,000. They say he's the rich one in trash to cash, but I think it might actually be Dave. I'm not sure. I don't know the inside of their finances at all. I just know Dave came from a long-term, relatively high-income background, you know, with whatever fancy things he does that he has an Emmy Award for, while Kevin has more recently come into it. So who knows? Why am I talking about this part? I'm going to cut this part completely out. How about this? I don't have $100,000, at least not in cash. If we took my wife's retirement accounts or sold my house, sure, I'd have it, but we're not doing that. But what resellers do you think have $100,000 in cash? Not retirement accounts. I mean, yes, it could be a bank account balance, but no retirement accounts, not their 401k, not they have to sell the house, not they have to sell the BMW or the Gaylord full of remotes or any of that. They just have it. They just have that six-figure balance sitting right there in their bank account that they could withdraw tomorrow. Post who you think has that down in the comments. Hey, if you know anybody who doesn't have $100,000 in cash, why don't you tell them about this channel? I could use a few more subs. Hey, thanks, and I hope to see you again soon.
See, that's One Foot Flipper's nonsense video.